Welcome back. We're now into calling to order the Economic Development Committee regular meeting. I'm going to ask Maria to make a roll call, please.
Okay, Sherry Boyer,
Yes.
James Ellis,
Yes.
Steve Ehrman,
Here.
Madeline Fleury here, Archie McKee,
Here.
Daniel Mills,
Here.
Nate Manette,
Here.
also present Jeremy Evans, Maria Bourgeois, Paul Ellis, Trevor Buchanan, and Rachel Child.
Very good. Motion to accept the agenda. Any additions or addendums to the agenda, please signify by making a motion to accept.
Just do it.
Madeline made the motion, Nate seconded.
Okay, Madeline motion, second whom, Paul?
Nate.
Nate. All those in favor of accepting the agenda as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Public comment. There being none, we'll move on to number 4, approval of the previous minutes of August 9th, 2023, which you all received in the mail. Are there any additions, deletions, changes that have to be made in the minutes of August 9th, 2023 to this group, the Economic Development Committee? There being none, we'll accept the motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Madeline, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Dan. All in favor of approving the previous meeting minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? I can ask the committee chairs if there are no reports for the committees, we can move that block rather quickly.
Nothing from audit and finance.
Nothing from loan committee.
Great,
Nothing from governance.
thank you. Agriculture,
Nothing from agricultural, and we have a meeting tomorrow for downtown.
very good.
Good.
Steve,
Nothing further for economic development, or nothing
very good.
from economic.
Let me just take a moment here to talk to you about why we're set up this way in our committees. I think this has been a very good thing, and I'll echo what Jeremy said earlier. It's a good way for us to get the nuts and bolts out of the way so that we can talk in our regular meetings without taking up 2 or 3 hours of discussion to get into the so to speak the works of the clock. So that being the case, I like this idea of using these committees for the appropriate measures. Treasurer's report. Paul.
Nothing unique or different or special.
Okay. I noticed the format for this. Are we going to go to a different format as we did
Now,
the other one?
we still haven't made the switch over yet to online for the EDC.
Yeah. Well, you spoiled me already. I like that new format.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
It's much cleaner.
Yeah, it is. And the other thing is that I think it gives you a clearer picture of what you need to see as a board member in our financial picture. So, very good. Thank you. Treasurer's report is dismissed. CEO.
I don't have any additional.
Need a motion,
Any-
need a motion, Jim.
Need a motion?
Yep, thank you. We need a motion to approve the treasurer's report for the EDC. Motion by Steve, second. Second by Dean. All in favor of accepting the treasurer's report, please signify by saying aye.
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 CEO report.
I don't have anything additional.
Nothing additional for the CEO?
No.
Old business, 2024 budget update. Did we pretty much take care of that in the?
No, we didn't.
No, okay.
But
Go ahead.
But what I would ask if the board would accommodate switching new business and old business. so that Rachel, who took the day off today to work on her new house, could get back to doing so. But I did ask her if she could attend just because of these two resolutions.
Okay, very good.
So if we could do that, I think she would appreciate it.
As a point of order, we can do that for sure. Let us take item number 9. Item number 9 first. We have a resolution 2023-26 to authorize the execution of grant agreement and disbursement of the Saranac Lake Energized Downtown Program funds. Anything to point out to us, Jeremy, or in this case?
Yeah, I would say with resolution 26, these are grants related to the Parkview, the Saranac Lofts project in downtown Saranac Lake, which is underway. Sent everyone a picture Friday of showing that construction's underway. These awards have already been recommended, but we realized that we didn't actually have board approval for them yet, and it's important that they be memorialized by a resolution. So that if you recall, we originally received a downtown revitalization grant for $400,000 to operate, to fit out, construct and fit out the Cary and co-working space, or entrepreneurial business center. We've not spent that money because we're in a leased space, but the intention has been to have a space at the new 120 Broadway. So what we're doing in this case is that we would be granting the funds that we originally received to the developer, who will then build the space out for us to use. And then they will meet the obligations of the grant for us. So that's the first one. And the other one is the $100,000, which was approved or recommended for approval by the committee, was to award up to $100,000 through the Energized Downtown Fund to the same project. And they had applied for it. This was a while back.
Right.
But we had just neglected to actually memorialize both of these with a resolution.
Very good. So
I have a technical question.
Love technical questions.
go ahead, Arch.
What's the difference between uptown and downtown?
So Uptown is in Tupper Lake. This is Saranac Lake. Tupper Lake has uptown and a downtown. So Uptown in Tupper Lake is the Park Street neighborhood, and then downtown is the Junction. But Saranac Lake does not have an uptown.
I didn't mean for you to give such a good answer. I was trying to be a smart aleck and
Archie was like Calvin Coolidge was sitting in a White House dinner, and one of the dowagers sitting next to him said, "Mr. President, we understand that you say very little. I would like to ask you if you would approve saying something, for I have a bet with the lady next to me that I can get you to say more than 3 words." Coolidge looked at her and he says, "You lose."
You teed me up, Archie, with a technical question, so I thought it required a technical answer.
Very good. Any other questions about resolution 2023-26? There being none, we have a motion on the floor.
No, we didn't.
No, we need a motion.
Thanks, Maria. Motion on the floor, please. I need a motion to approve resolution 2023-26. Motion?
motion for downtown.
Archie from downtown is going to approve or move the resolution 2023-26. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Steve.
Sherry, I'll yield to Sherry. Sherry is the chair of the downtown committee.
You ladies are wearing dark clothing. I can hardly see you from down here.
So
All
the
right.
motion is by Archie and the second's by Sherry.
Sherry, very good. Roll call vote, Maria, please.
Okay, 2023-26, Sherry Boye,
Yes.
James Ellis,
Yes.
Stephen Erman,
Yes.
Madeline Flurry,
Yes.
Archie McKee,
Yes.
Daniel Mills,
Yes.
Nate Manette,
Yes.
duly adopted.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to resolution number 2023-27. Archie, I'm perfectly qualified to answer the question about uptown and downtown in Tupper Lake.
Okay.
It used to be that when you cross the railroad tracks in Tupper Lake, which were down on Mars Boulevard, that was the dividing line between uptown and downtown. And when I got out of the Army and I was looking for a place to buy, there were numbers of places in both places. And I would have been satisfied living in either one. Although where I moved to is about a 5-minute walk from where my school was. So that's why I decided to stay uptown, because that's where the school was.
I
Therefore,
was dependent on where you lived. When I was growing up, I had to go uptown to get to Main Street. And as an adult, I've always lived where you had to go downtown to get to Main Street. So I think it's the same.
Dodging the horses and the carriages, right?
Yeah.
Yep, me too. So therefore, we have a motion and a second to adopt
No, we
resolution.
don't have a motion.
Have a lot of nonsense.
We don't have a motion yet, do we?
Oh, there's
Need a motion.
so we're next is 27. We don't have a motion for 27 yet. We do
Okay.
need a
I was too busy answering Archie's question. I'm sorry.
technical question.
Jim, I'll make the motion for you, bud.
Motion,
I'll second it.
Nate and Dan.
Nate and Dan, thank you.
Okay, so this one, I think it would be good for Rachel to provide a background for 27.
There we go. Rachel, you're on.
All right, I made sure to wipe all the ceiling dust and drywall mud off my face, so hopefully I got it all. So this grant, the Tupper Lake Energize Uptown Fund, is a $600,000 grant that was awarded to the Village of Tupper Lake. And the village has hired EDC as a consultant to administer the grant. We have $540,000 total in funds to disperse to projects. We had 9 applicants, and the result is that we have 6 awardees. We were able to disperse almost all of the available funds, and I feel confident that the few thousand that's left over will be able to disperse to existing projects, which is really exciting. Almost all the projects are really huge renovation projects, very transformational. We have projects happening next to each other on the same street, which is really cool, because then we're really transforming parts of uptown Tupper Lake. And there's a mix of business assistance projects in which business owners are getting help with some storefront improvements, or more importantly, equipment to expand their business operations, or in the case of one project, start a new business. And we also have several projects that are focused on facade renovations and interior commercial renovations as well. There's a couple projects that will create new jobs. So it's a really exciting time in Tupper Lake, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it.
Thank you, Rachel. And I might say, Rachel, I told Jeremy before, but I'll say this for the benefit of the whole board. You're drawing a lot of attention in Tupper Lake. Thank you for your hard work there. It's definitely appreciated by the people that you've been in contact with. So thank you.
No problem. I've been enjoying spending more time there.
Good luck with your house.
What the chairman said, I was the
Thank you.
board's rep on the review committee for these projects. And, I was impressed with Rachel's work in a couple of ways. It was very clear that she had a very close working relationship with the applicants. And when we had questions, she was able to get back and get quick answers from them of what their intentions were to clarify what was in the applications. And she had a really good rapport with the people on the review committee, most of whom were Tupper Lakers. And I think it just portend, to me, it looked like we're going to have a good future in our presence with our presence in Tupper Lake, and that's largely because of Rachel's good work, and I just want to compliment her on that.
Well, thank you. And I want to say having an office there right on Park Street has been super helpful. Having a landing place where people can come to meet with me. And it's easy for me to just go around and talk with people. I've been getting to know a lot of people and I've been really enjoying it.
Great.
Thank you, Rachel.
I just
We
have
have
a question.
second.
Question.
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Chairman, I just have a comment, if I could,
Sure.
about these two resolutions, uptown and downtown, for the work that was done. To me, it's just what this organization is all about. Is helping businesses, creating businesses, and creating jobs. So that's all terrific.
Thank you, Archie. I think that's, I've got to say that the increased activity of our IDA board itself and our IDA activities have been a real boon to our county. And I think we ought to just pat yourselves on the back. We've done a great job. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Now we'll move on to the motion
Got the motion, so now it's ready.
and the second.
Yep.
Now we'll do the roll call.
Good.
Okay, 2023-27, Sherry Boye,
Yes.
James Ellis,
Yes.
Stephen Erman,
Yes.
Madeline Fleury. Yes. Archie McKee,
Yes.
Daniel Mills,
Yes.
Nate Manette,
Yes.
duly adopted.
Thank you, everybody. Resolution 2023-27 has been adopted. And as a native Tupper Laker, I thank you. We now will go on to public comment. There is no need for an executive session, is there?
No.
Okay, there being no need for an executive session, we'll go on to public comment.
Oh, we're gonna go back to the budget. We gotta go back to the
Oh.
EDC budget.
Excuse me, that's right. Got to go back to old business number 8.
Yep.
Go ahead. We're back on item number 8, which we skipped by in order to get to the downtown approvals.
Right. So, the same still applies as far as some line items have been decreased as we've been able to be more precise in our budgeting. So I just wanted to point that out with the EDC. The EDC has a variety of sources of income. In this past year, we failed to secure one of our principal sources that we've had over the last few years, and we've obviously made some changes mid-year as a result of that. And so you'll see that's reflected both on the income side and in our personnel and employee benefit lines. You can see how those costs are proposed to be reduced in 2024 as a result of those changes. And the thing about the EDC budget is that there's a lot of fluctuation that happens based on our expected the cycle of grant activity. And again, it's both on the income side and the expenditure side. And Paul and I worked with Rachel to try to understand the timing of what we think is we're going to expend in 2024 for the Energize Uptown grant, for example, the Energize Downtown grant, and also when we would expect to get reimbursement for those. So we've tried to work that in, and those are laid out in the detail sheets that you have. I think the only other thing I would say about the EDC is that we've been interested in trying to get, this has been a long-term goal, but try to get to some closer to self-sufficiency when it comes to the EDC. The grant administration funds help with that, and so does our loan interest income. Those have been typical sources of income over the last few years. Obviously, the contracts that we've had help, but we want to do more. One of the things that Russ and I started looking at, and then Paul and I are looking more seriously at, is finding an additional source of loan funds that we could then use to loan to eligible businesses across the country. Our loan activity is good, but we could do more. And if we do more, that would translate into greater interest income for us. And one of the sources we're going to look at is rural development. And so that's kind of a long-term, just wanted to let you know that we're thinking about that long-term. That's not something that would show up, probably wouldn't even show up in the 2024 budget. So we didn't put it in there, but it is something that we really are going to be working on probably towards the end of this year and into early next year with some long-term benefits to our cash flow and long-term ability to increase the number of loans that we give to Franklin County businesses and organizations. So with that, I'd just open it back up to any discussion, comments, recommendations board members might have.
Have we established any type of relationship with that organization as yet?
Yes, we've had a couple phone calls with the representatives over that, just to ask basic questions, understand the application process a little bit, understand some of the guidelines and restrictions on the use of their funds, things like that. So hasn't gone any further than that, but we've had those initial discussions.
Are there any projects that somebody might have presented to us that might qualify for this type of action?
Oh yeah. We've got 3 or 4 projects right now. One where we expect an application any day for a loan. There's 3 or 4 others that are possible, and that we part of what we have to look at is our own balance sheet. So to have another source of funds, we don't have to raise our standards, but we'll be able to loan out more money and not have to worry about our own balance sheet.
We have enough cash in the bank to continue to make loans right now. But once we get to a certain point, we're going to have to look to find additional funds. So we're being really proactive by looking at rural development as being a source for that in the future.
Do you think this opportunity to borrow money at a low interest rate is going to continue, or is this something that is?
Well, I don't know what their
that program is stable regardless of what the market rates are. They always lend their funds to eligible entities like us at the same rate. And then we can adjust our rate based on the market and the need.
So loan to us for like 1%, and then we can reloan it out.
Yeah.
This is all very, very, very helpful. one thing I noticed today that there was a new economic development director appointed in the village of, or town of North Elba or Lake Placid Village, I'm not sure which.
I think maybe both.
Is it both? Well, regardless, they have a new development director now up there, and they're doing some of the background about that particular office. And one of the things that they mentioned on behalf of both villages is they're setting up or have had a I don't know, I hate like heck to call it a rainy day fund, but it's sort of like a fund that is set aside to encourage applications and to encourage businesses who either already exist or are thinking of coming into the community that they can use to continue working on developing more and more investment. I mean, it's gotten to the point now in Lake Placid, they got to knock down a building to put up a new one. So, you know, not unlike Saranac Lake, of course, I think we're doing that already with, the architect, our architect who was in here a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago, I mean, when we met at Paul Smith's, name of that outfit, Jeremy?
Oh, Black Mountain Architecture.
Black Mountain Architecture. That's the kind of things we need. Each town has different needs. Tupper Lake can still use small businesses as a base because that's what's there. You can't ask for a flagship hotel in Tupper Lake yet because people aren't ready to invest or to make that kind of an investment. But with the activity I think we've got going on, with the things that are happening, Tupper and Saranac Lake and Malone are all making some rather healthy moves. And I think it's good, I really do. So.
I think this is I'm gonna correct, I think this is the Village of Lake Placid hired the economic developer. Because I do not think he works his way over as close as the Essex County portion of Saranac Lake. I don't believe. But I'm looking at it online, trying to figure that out, but I think it's the Village of Lake Placid.
Well, I think Roost is involved.
Yeah.
Roost, Lake Placid, and North Elba, but I don't know
It's North Elba.
exactly the whole structure of it.
So he may have responsibilities to move
think so.
into Saranac Lake also. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, having demerits for a moment, anything further on the EDC budget, Jeremy?
No.
Can I just make a couple of quick comments on the budget that
Yes.
might answer some questions that people might come across later on? One of the things that sticks out right away is the revenues are down a lot. And that's because the year before, we had the CARES Act, which was about $600,000 in funding, which bumped it up. And now we're just dropping back down to what would have been a typical level. The other thing is that there was some confusion last year as to how to categorize the CARES Act money. And technically it should have been categorized under non-operating, but no need to really get into why that is. It's just one of the reporting requirements. The other thing, obviously, there's a significant drop in salaries and benefits due to the staffing changes. And then the other thing I want to point out is you'll notice under professional services contracts that there's a considerable increase in the dollar amount. And that's because we are looking to do update the SEDS report. That's typically done every 5 years. I think Jeremy said earlier, we're already in year 7. We also have applied for one grant. There's a federal grant we can apply for to help offset that cost. Ultimately, our share would be about 10% or 10%, $10,000 roughly. If we don't get the grants, the board still has the decision to make down the road whether we move forward or we wait another year and reapply for the fund. So I just wanted to point that out. And I think that is about it, other than when the budget was constructed last year, depreciation was not put in the budget. But this year, the budget now recognizes the annual depreciation.
Thank you,
As
Paul.
far as like, just one more, as far as the grants go, this is where some of the confusion has been in the past. When we have a grant that just simply passes through us, it's considered non-operating, right? So you'll see a non-operating revenue to recognize the grant coming in. And then you'll see the same exact dollar amount under non-operating expenses going out, because it just simply passes through us. It doesn't support our operations. However, if we apply for a grant that directly benefits us, then that would be recognized as an operating income. So I just want to provide that clarification. That's it, Jim.
I'm sorry.
I'm all set.
Okay, I didn't hear, did I hear a question from the group in Malone? Okay, I have just one question, Paul. When we get ready to redo the SEDS, what is how should I say this? What is our obligation to the county board? In other words, in terms of either discussion or approvals or anything else?
Well, it could take a variety of formats. We have to work through that. So there's no obligation by default to the legislature, because we would be doing the SEDS for the county as the county, not county government.
Okay.
The last time that the SEDS was done, Steve probably remembers, I was on one of the committees. There was involvement from county legislators, just like there was from various towns and other organizations. So that's a little bit different question. Having involvement in the development of some of the priorities and things is from legislative representatives or county staff would be very beneficial.
So in other words, we have nothing other than informational responsibilities between ourselves and county government, just to give them information, or none.
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Right.
have their thoughts and observations about the direction, the economic development, what direction the economic development strategy for the county goes.
Right.
Very
The
good.
last go around, my recollection was that the county put a lot of trust in the Economic Development Corporation, basically to shepherd that plan through, to basically watch over the consultant. They didn't have anybody else
Right.
doing that work.
It was Maria was here, and
Right.
Maria and John Tubbs did
Oversight.
all of the local work and oversight, and then
Right.
Des Moines Associates was the consultant.
Contractor, and then it all was presented to the county, and
Yeah.
with the recommendation, I think, of the
Right.
Economic Development Course, it was
Yeah.
adopted. So.
Very good.
That showed at that point, I think, a very good relationship and a lot of trust by the county in the EDC.
Anything else to do here?
No.
We are going to probably I'm going to suggest that we do the same thing we did with the IDA budget. We'll let this sit for a period of time till our next meeting. And if there's nothing of any substance that we have to do to change what we've presented here today, then we will vote to approve our next year's budget at the October meeting. So that begs the question, we're either going to meet October 11th, or if we find that there is a lack of a quorum, then we'll go to another date if we have to. Anything else to come before the EDC? Public comment?
This is totally unrelated to anything, but maybe I haven't really been around that long. I was just curious, maybe it's a snowboarder talking in me. Has there been any talk about Big Tupper and you guys possibly getting involved and bringing that back? Again, this is not for a story or anything. This is just, somebody had mentioned a big hotel in Tupper Lake and how they're not quite there yet. And that seems like that would be a way to move that closer, that kind of thing.
Can I answer? Trevor, it's my understanding that there's, sort of initiatives that could be or could not be connected. I don't mean to be confusing, but it appears that there is some discussion that a motel development, hotel development is possible, and there are people looking at that. There's also some discussion going on at the town level, at the town board level, to try to hopefully get the county to get off the dime, excuse my expression, in terms of the foreclosures that are supposed to take place at Big Tupper. I'm not sure where that is, have no idea, but, I say this with all due respect to my son. Lawyers sometimes get in the middle of things and God only knows what happens. So that's as muddy as I can be, but that's.
But it's
There is-
something that's semi on the radar. Something to keep on the, keeping the back of my mind. Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think
'cause it's
anytime
very-
that you need to, you're more than welcome to come and ask us if we know anything. And, to the degree that we can, we'll share.
The
Sure.
county,
Yeah,
county and town have been in the village, but I think all of those entities have been closely watching how it all plays out with
Right.
the legal problems that the property has. And what I have expressed to different entities over the years is when a proposal comes and there's something that the IDA can do within our realm, we look forward to considering it and figuring out how we can support the community.
Very good. Thank you, guys.
It's interesting to note, there's a real aside, but when I was at the park agency, Mike Foxman came into the agency to discuss with his broker before he acquired the OWD Overwood Dish Lands. And he may or may not at that point have had Big Tupper, the ski area, under contract. But he definitely did not have the larger parcel under contract. And he came in for a meeting on a Friday afternoon in May 2003. So it's really interesting to me that 20 years has gone by with the community being really hopeful that it had an opportunity for a hotel. And, I haven't heard anything about a new hotel personally over in Tupper, but if that ever was proposed, that would be very, very exciting and something that, could perhaps be thought of as a good successor to that much hoped for proposal that Foxman and Company made earlier.
It kind of reminds me of the back and forth over the last 20, 30 years with a certain hotel in Malone that shall remain nameless, but I'm sure you can all guess. It's oh yeah, something's happening. Oh, nothing's happening. Oh, something's happening. Nothing's happening. So just trying to keep this stuff. I'm just trying to be mindful of it.
No, I think you're right. That's good.
Interesting.
Yeah, your interest is welcomed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I would like to propose going into executive session for a legal matter, please.
Sherry,
I threw it right off, didn't I?
yeah,
For a legal matter.
for legal, so let me look up
I don't know if we adjourned or not.
we did not adjourn yet.
We did not adjourn.
No, just asking.
We're
Hold
in
on.
public comment, I think, right?
Yeah, public comment is where we are.
Good.
Yep.
This would be,
So.
would this be proposed pending or current litigation, Sherry? Would that be the appropriate topic?
Yeah, I guess. Proposed, pending, and current. Yeah, all the above.
Okay.
All the above.
Well, I think Sarah made the motion.
I'll second Sherry's motion.
Well, we're going to executive session.
All in favor? Get all in
I know
favor.
Sherry
All in
is.
favor.
Aye.
I mean,
Please
I'm-
signify by saying aye that you wish to go into session. All those in favor to go into executive session?
yeah, we're in. Yeah, we all did it.
Then let's go into executive session.
Okay, same thing, Trevor. We'll, you can.
But you guys will probably adjourn after this, won't you?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
So I'll just bug out. I don't think I'm gonna write anything today. I'm gonna, I'll do a story on the budget next month when you guys
Okay.
get there. But I've gathered a lot of information today that will help me out.
By then, when we do the budget for next month, it'll end up in the packet, whatever the
Yeah.
final. So you'll be able to see it.
That's perfect. Thanks a bunch, everybody.
Thanks,
Have a
Trevor.
great
Nice
day.
to see you,
See you,
Trevor.
Trevor.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
EDC, or do we have,
We need the motion to adjourn now.
we now need a motion to adjourn the EDC meeting?
I'll make,
Motion by Dan.
Second by
Second,
Steve.
second by Steve. All in favor signify by saying aye. I'll remind you, our next meeting is October 11. Please watch your email if we have to change it to another date. Other than that, thank you. Good piece of work as always. Appreciate all your work. Thank you.
Nice to see everybody.
Thank you.